Hey, so every church can run into problems with their computers that they use for audiovisual or for the sermon or even worship projection. So this is kind of like what I've done for King of Kings Community Church of Pensacola. What happened with Windows 10 was it was working okay. It would stutter, it would hang every once in a while, but most recently, past I would say the last 3 months, it's been giving us like some severe issues. The main one being video playback and even audio playback when we're playing an MP3 or something. And despite all the type of tinkering and tweaking and uninstalling and getting in even sometimes into the processes and allocating high priority to this, removing the back end processes, even registry files and stuff like that. No matter what we did, it still had issues. So I ended up doing like a clean install, and it's still, I mean, it was working great, but then after two or three Windows updates, which they push on you, these are ones that I couldn't avoid, um, it came back again. And it really messed us up a couple times during the middle of worship service. And that's not acceptable. And given that the church isn't at a financial place where we can like just invest on one or two computers um, from Apple, um, I decided to kind of leverage what I know about Linux and use this for the church. Now, there may be a time where down the road, once we get like, a little more sophisticated in our service and get fancy and all that stuff, we might go to Mac, because they're, in some sense, they're top of the line with studio based software and, just overall, just, presenting stuff with multi monitors and stuff like that. They might hold, um, you know, uh, might be more advanced or more stable than others. But until that happens, we want to see how far we can take it with Linux. So here's what we did. I installed Linux on this device, which is a HP laptop, HP Pavilion. It was donated, so that's why we're using this. And it's pretty decked out in specs. So 12 gigs of RAM and i7 processor. Not bad. So, which is why it was even more frustrating that we were having issues with the playback. Anyways, we I decided to use Ubuntu Mate 1604 because it's, I mean, 1604 is a stable release, and Mate can be easily configured for the basic essentials. And what I wanted to do to help volunteers is make it as easy as possible for them to, run this machine. So make it as friendly as it can be. And so I use the Redmond layout. If you go to System, Administration, actually Preferences, and Look and Feel, Mate Tweak, you can see the interface. And you can do an Apple style thing, a traditional GNOME 2 style, which most people don't even know what that means, or Redmond, which is basically Windows style. Redmond being the place where they're headquartered at for Microsoft. Cupertino, I think that's the same thing for Apple. That's where they're based out of. So they use these nicknames to describe what the layout is. If I clicked on Cupertino, this whole screen will magically change with a dock on here and a panel on top, kind of like an Apple computer. So I just stuck with Redmond because it's simple and easy. I changed the desktop background to something simple. I wanted to customize the theme to be black mate because I want it to be easy on the eyes. So having that black background can help our volunteers to kind of just, because it's a new environment, I wanted to make it easy to catch. So that's why it's set up to that. Um, Icons, I installed Elementary because they had icon sets seem to be like um, super obvious, and that's what I liked. So I put Elementary Dark on there so you have a dark contrast. And again, the window border, I put WinMe, which is a Windows 2000 looking like thing. Again, trying to build that familiarity. I didn't want to go too too hardcore with like making it like Windows 2000, but just enough for the Windows management. So that's that. And I put like just shortcut icons for the most used programs, and we're going to be using OpenLP for our worship hymn replacement, which is pretty much like a, think of it as a lyric broadcast or lyric display thing. And then boom. And actually, the person who runs this said he actually likes this a little more in terms of the layout. It makes more logical sense. Um, so yeah, so that's what we did for that. And we're going to be testing this out. Now, the only, not problems, but issues I had was I the we have like several gigs of music on the Windows partition. And instead of just creating redundancy of some videos on here and some videos on there, um, we're going to keep using the Windows files on this partition. So, as I said earlier, or maybe I missed it, but I'll tell you now, this, I installed Linux side by side Windows 10. So when this machine boots up, it gives you about 5 or 6 seconds to choose. Do you want to boot in Linux or do you want to boot in Windows? And so I choose Windows, and then, but I want to access files from Windows. So what I did was I go to the Windows partition that I can look at and see here, and I go to Users, Media, which is the name of the account, and then I go to the desktop folder, and I see, okay, this is our desktop from Windows 10. These are the files there. I just create a shortcut link to these things, so that instead of copying it and creating a second copy and then it becoming out of sync as we use this more and more, we continue to use this on the Windows partition. Same thing with the music. If you go to our music, we have a ton of music here. So link to music. Boom. I mean, crazy amount of music. And look how fast that is, in terms of like just moving things around. In Windows, even with 12 gigs of RAM, this thing will stutter. Just pressing the freaking start menu would stutter. Look at this. By the way, we have another laptop next to this one for our stream live streaming. Can't talk today. And that's like 5 years old, that laptop. Even I think it's actually 9. I gotta look at it. It's 5 to 7 years, I think. Actually, I'm being conservative, but the thing is old, and that thing is running just as fast as this because, again, you're using Linux. So you get like, this thing is screaming how fast this thing is, and we're not doubling our storage for no reason. I just linked it there, and the only thing that I had to change was making sure that when this machine booted up, that it automatically mounted this Windows file. And what I used for that was a service called Disk. And with Disk, I clicked on the Windows partition that has all the files, clicked on Properties, Edit Mount Options, and then turned Automatic Mount Options off so I can have customized manual mount options and activated the mount at startup. So, and also display name, I changed the name to Windows Files because working with volunteers, some are more tech savvy than others. I want to make it really obvious and easy for them to, look at stuff. So if they see here, like, oh, they know this is the Windows partition, and then, they'll have to dig around a little bit. Maybe I could even change the folder color to red so they know, okay, follow the red links to get to the file, to get to the important stuff that you want to get to, which is actually a pretty cool idea. I'm going to implement it right now. So anything that's like somewhat like used somewhat regularly, I'm going to just color code them so that if in case they do have to run into this thing, you know, they're okay. Let's see here. Music. Yeah. Videos. So I think that music, videos, documents, downloads, and desktop. That's really all they really need. Maybe pictures too. So that if I have to walk someone through something, I'll tell them like over the phone, like, hey, click on the red file users, click on the red one media, and these are the places where you need to go. Boom. Pretty cool, huh? So, so not only did we solve our problem, we actually get more performance from this device thanks to Linux, and we get more flexibility on how we navigate folders. We found free software that might be a little better than what we used that we paid for, and you know, pretty. We have control over our system and when the freaking updates go through. So there's updates available on this machine, and we're gonna push them when we're ready to push them. And we have TeamViewer here, so in case we need to hop on remotely, I just tested it out. It took a second. I messed up. I messed up on some settings, and I had to figure it out. But once I figured it out, I can log in this system through my phone to troubleshoot something or walk someone through something instantly. Actually, the performance on TeamViewer on this was actually faster than it was on Windows. So again, just everything gets, um, you know, increased in terms of performance. So just to give you a heads up on how our church is using Linux and how it's been kind of helping us solve some problems thanks to Windows. See ya.